thought process that went into building these applications, Facebook being the first of them to really understand it. That thought process was all about how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. And that means that we need to sort of give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while because someone liked or commented on a photo or a post or whatever. And that's going to get you to contribute more content, and that's going to get you, you know, more likes and comments. I mean, it's a
social validation feedback loop.
Social validation feedback loop.
That it's like it's exactly the kind of thing that a hacker like myself would come up with.
A hacker like myself would come up with.
Because you're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology.
In human psychology.
Be a kind of a meditation that you and I will do together. Think of a little child. It's given a taste for drugs. As it grows up, the whole body of that child is craving for the drug. To live without the drug brings a pain and a suffering so great that it seems preferable to die. You and I, as children, were given a drug. It was called approval. It was called appreciation. It was called praise, success, acceptance, popularity. Once you took the drug, society could control you. The tentacles of society got into you. You become a robot. You want to see what kind of a robot existence human beings live? Listen to this. You've got the robot who comes here, and I say, "Ma, you're looking pretty," and the robot goes right up. I press a button called appreciation, and right up it goes. Then I press another button called criticism, flat on the earth. Total control. We're so affected by this. We're so easily controlled by it. And when we're deprived of it, we become so terrified. We're so frightened to make mistakes. We're so frightened that people will laugh at us. I saw a little kid once, 3 years old. She wandered into our dining room dressed in her nightie. So we sort of applauded. She thought we were laughing at her. She ran away, and her mother had to carry her in while she was struggling. She didn't want to come. She thought we had laughed at her, and I thought, she's only 3 years old, but already we've made a little monkey out of her. Somebody taught her this, that when you do this, she's supposed to feel good. And when you say boo, she's supposed to feel bad. Once you give her that drug, she's finished. You think Jesus Christ was controlled by this kind of thing? By what people thought of him and what they said about him? Awake people break out of this drug. And when you make a mistake or when you're rejected, you feel such a tremendous emptiness, such a loneliness. You keep crawling back, begging for that drug called encouragement, acceptance, belonging. So they got us nicely controlled. How do you get out of it? First of all, let's see some of the results. You know something? As a result of having taken this drug, you have lost your ability to love. You know why? Because you cannot see any human being anymore. You're so conscious of whether they accept you or they don't, whether they approve of you or they don't. You're seeing them as a threat to your drug or as a support to your drug. Think of the politician. The politician frequently doesn't see people at all. He sees votes. And if you're neither a threat nor a support to his getting votes, he doesn't even notice you. The businessman, he sees big bucks. He doesn't see people, he sees business deals. But we're no different if we're under the effect of this drug. The robot, I like you, and the robot will automatically, mechanically react, oh, he's good, he likes me. I don't like you, he's awful, he doesn't like me. See? The drug. How can you love what you do not even see? Want to get rid of the drug? You have to tear those tentacles out of your system. They've got to the marrow of your bones. This control that society exercises over you. By seeing what they are doing to you. If you're able to do that, everything will be the same, but you will have dropped out. You will be in the world, but you will no longer be off the world. You really want to enjoy life, enjoy the pleasures of the senses, enjoy the pleasures of the mind, enjoy your work, enjoy nature. Go up to the mountain and enjoy the trees and the stars at night and send the crowds away, and you will be completely alone, because then love is born in solitude and aloneness. You come to this land of love by passing through the land of death, and you will realize that your heart has brought you to this vast desert. In the beginning, it seems lonely because you're not accustomed to it. You're not accustomed to aloneness, which is not the same as loneliness. Loneliness means missing people. Aloneness means not needing anyone, enjoying people, but not needing them. Then at last, you can see them. Then you will realize that the desert suddenly blossoms into love. And there's a song in your heart, and it is springtime forever. Let me give you a little meditation. Think of someone whose approval you need, you think you need, whose approval you desperately want, whose appreciation you want, and see if you can understand how in front of this person you have lost your freedom. Try that out. I'll give you a few seconds for that. Think of someone who you think is necessary to ease the pain of your loneliness, and understand how in front of this person you have lost your freedom. You're not free. You dare not be yourself. You cannot live like a king or a queen, a princess. What does it mean to live like an emperor, an empress? You know what it means? It means you don't have to impress anyone anymore. You're completely at ease with everyone because you don't desire anything from anyone anymore. Well, I've got to clarify that. Of course you desire things from others, but you know, the non-fulfillment of that desire doesn't make you unhappy. See if you can get that. There are two types of desires. There's the desire on whose fulfillment our happiness depends. There's a desire on whose fulfillment our happiness does not depend. I go to a restaurant. I say, do you have mushroom soup? And they say, no, we haven't mushroom soup. You ruined my dinner. I'm going out. Let's get out of this place. Let's go somewhere else. You have mushroom soup? No. What do you have? How about sweet corn and chicken? Well, that's pretty good. I'd enjoy that too. What about tomato? I'd enjoy that too. See? The fulfillment of that desire does not affect your happiness. You're happy with it or without it. Like the guy who's waiting at the maternity ward and the nurse comes in and says, did you want a boy or a girl, sir? He says, I wanted a girl. She says, well, I got bad news for you, it's a boy. He says, that's all right, that was my second choice. Not a boy. How do you get this kind of guy down, huh? When you don't have to defend yourself anymore to anyone, you don't feel the need to apologize. Can you imagine that? You don't feel the need to explain. You don't have to impress. You're not bothered by what they say or what they think. It doesn't bother you. You're unaffected. My, hear me say affection wasn't all right. A parent giving affection is fine. But think of this. We're all busy telling people that they're okay. You know why? Because somebody told them they were not okay. And you know something? You're neither okay nor not okay. You're you. And if you really were you, and you were getting nourishment from what I called the pleasures of the senses and the mind, and you were not being drugged by society, you wouldn't miss it. There are cultures in which your not okay doesn't exist, so neither does your okay exist. Sometimes people feel they haven't been loved. I say to them, if you've survived to this age, you've got all the love you need. Listen to this. A woman who claims that she hasn't been loved and she needs it desperately. She goes to the movies and it's a great comedy and she's roaring with laughter. And for 10 minutes, she's forgotten that it's necessary to be loved. And she's happy. What do you know? When she comes out of the theater with her friend and she sees her friend go with her boyfriend, then she thinks, nobody loves me, I got no boyfriend. It's like when there was no television, nobody missed it. Now that everybody's got television, say, I don't have television. See, loneliness is not cured by human contact, by contact with human beings. It is cured by contact with reality. Then you don't miss people. You enjoy them and you don't miss them. There's a great educationist who says, a man called Neil, some of you are probably familiar with him from his book Summerhill. He says, the healthy child is always interested in persons, is always, the unhealthy child is only interested in persons and is always clinging to its mother's skirts. The healthy child has no need for persons. They're busy exploring the world. Spirituality is to be awake, to drop your illusions. Spirituality is never to be at the mercy of any event, thing, or person. Spirituality is to have discovered those diamond mines inside of you. Religion is meant to lead you to this. Alas, if you look at the world, it frequently doesn't. The meditation centers around a lovely gospel text of what use is it to you to gain the world and lose your soul. I'll go a bit slowly. You can think as I talk. Think of what you feel when you're looking at a sunset or you're in touch with nature. And compare that to the feeling you have when you're appreciated, you're praised, you're applauded. The first kind of feeling I call a soul feeling. The second type I call a world feeling. Think of the feeling you have when you win a race or an argument. When you make it to the top. When you're successful. World feeling. And contrast it with the feeling you get when you're doing work that you love. When you're immersed in a hobby. When you're reading a book that you thoroughly enjoy, or watching a movie that you enjoy. Soul feeling. Think of the time when you've got power, when you're the boss, when everyone is looking up to you, and the kind of feeling that creates. World feeling. Contrast that with the joy of intimacy, with the company of friends. You enjoy them without clinging to them, with laughter and merriment, soul feeling. Let's take a look at those world feelings. They're not natural. They were invented by your society and mine to control us. They do not lead to happiness, only to excitement and thrill and anxiety and emptiness. And think of your own life. Is there a single day when you're not consciously or unconsciously attuned to what others think, what others feel, and what they will say about you? In other words, controlled by them, marching to the beat of their drum. And look around you and see if you find anyone who is freed from these feelings, world feeling. Everywhere you will find people immersed in these world feelings because they live soulless, empty life. They gained the world, but they lost their soul. And when they come to die,